Have you ever caught your own reflection and thought, what happened to me? Not because you feel old exactly, but because your body just doesn't answer the way it used to. Most men are told this is simply what 60 looks like. Your age, get used to it. But what if that's only half the picture? What if one of the biggest factors isn't your age at all, but something much more fixable, the health of your blood vessels? Today, I want to walk you through 3 ordinary fruits that research suggests may support healthy blood flow, one of the real foundations of erectile health as men get older. Nothing expensive, nothing exotic, nothing sold in a flashy bottle, just food that's probably already in your kitchen. Stay with me to the end because the last thing I'll share is a simple daily habit that surprises almost every patient I mention it to. And once they added it in, many told me their energy improved right along with their circulation. I'm Dr. William Hayes, and after nearly 3 decades working with older adults, here's something I've learned. Most men would rather talk about almost anything else than erectile changes. Embarrassment, frustration, sometimes shame. But if that's you, you're far from alone. Changes in sexual function are extremely common after 60, and in a lot of cases, they're tied closely to how well your cardiovascular system is working. The good part is that your body tends to be more responsive to small changes than most people expect. So grab a pen because you'll want to remember a few of these. Before we get to the first fruit, let me ask you something. Has your morning energy quietly slipped over the past few years? Do the stairs feel a little steeper? Have your evening walks gotten shorter without you really deciding that? And has intimacy started to feel different too, in a way that makes you wonder if your best years are already behind you? Here's the real question. What if all of that is connected? A lot of people assume erectile health lives in its own separate category, disconnected from the rest of the body. Research tells a different story. Picture your circulation like the plumbing in an old house. When the pipes are clear and flexible, every faucet works the way it should. When those same pipes narrow or stiffen over the years, the pressure drops everywhere, not just in one room. Your blood vessels work the same way, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every tissue that needs them, including the ones involved in an erection. Here's a detail most people never think about. The blood vessels involved in erectile function are some of the smallest in your body, smaller than the arteries feeding your heart. So when circulation starts to decline, where might your body show the first signs? Often there, before almost anywhere else. That's part of why many clinicians treat changes in performance not as an isolated embarrassment, but as an early signal worth paying attention to. Now, to be clear, I'm not telling you one fruit will fix this overnight. If anyone promises you a single miracle food, they're selling hope, not science. Your body responds to consistency the same way a garden responds to steady watering rather than one massive downpour once a month. That's exactly why these 3 fruits matter, not as magic, but as small, repeatable pieces of a lifestyle that supports better circulation over time. Let's start with the first one, watermelon. I know the objection already. Doctor, it's basically water and sugar. How could that possibly help? It's one of the most common myths I hear. Yes, it's sweet. Yes, it's mostly water, but tucked inside is a natural compound called citrulline. Think of it as a delivery driver carrying an important message through your body. Once you eat it, your body can convert some of that citrulline into another amino acid, arginine, which your body then uses to help produce nitric oxide. What does nitric oxide actually do? Picture a garden hose that's been pinched shut, barely a trickle coming through. The moment you release the pinch, water flows freely again. That's roughly what nitric oxide does inside your blood vessels. It signals the surrounding muscle to relax, letting blood move more freely. That matters for far more than intimacy. It matters for your heart, your brain, your muscles, even your ability to take a long walk without running out of steam. Some research in older adults has linked better nitric oxide production with healthier blood vessel function. Watermelon isn't a medicine, and it isn't a replacement for anything your doctor has prescribed. But as one small piece of a heart-healthy diet, it earns its place. Ask yourself this. When was the last time you reached for watermelon because you were thinking about your circulation, rather than just because it was a hot afternoon? Most people never make that connection, which is exactly why it gets overlooked. There's a hydration angle too. A lot of people quietly drink less water as they age, and even mild dehydration can leave you feeling sluggish and can affect how well your circulation performs through the day. Since watermelon is over 90% water, it helps you stay hydrated while delivering vitamins and plant compounds at the same time. A simple way to work it in: a bowl at breakfast, a snack in the afternoon, blended into a smoothie without added sugar, or paired with plain Greek yogurt in the evening. About 1 to 2 cups is a reasonable serving for most healthy adults. If you tend to avoid fruit because you're worried about sugar, hold that thought. We'll come back to it, because the answer isn't as simple as most people assume. And the second fruit on this list has genuinely surprised patients of mine who consider themselves nutrition savvy. The second fruit is one most people walk right past in the produce aisle: pomegranate. Be honest. Have you ever looked at one and thought, too much work, I'll grab something easier? You're not alone there either. Those little seeds feel inconvenient, and because of that, this fruit gets ignored far more than it deserves. Here's what surprises people: those ruby seeds are loaded with natural antioxidants. Think of antioxidants as a maintenance crew working around the clock. Every day, your blood vessels take on ordinary wear and tear from aging, stress, poor sleep, and less than ideal eating habits. Over time, that wear can make vessels stiffer and less flexible, like an old garden hose left out in the sun for years, cracked and unyielding instead of supple. The antioxidants in pomegranate may help protect the inner lining of your blood vessels from that everyday damage. Scientists call that lining the endothelium. But don't worry about the term, just picture it as the smooth inner surface that lets blood move easily, like a freshly paved road instead of one riddled with potholes. When that lining stays healthier, circulation tends to follow, and that benefits your heart, your brain, and yes, your sexual health as well. Several studies point to pomegranate supporting healthy blood vessel function because of its antioxidant content. It's not a cure, and it doesn't replace medical care, but it's a smart addition to a heart-healthy way of eating. Have you noticed that when your heart feels stronger, your overall energy tends to follow? That's not a coincidence. Your circulatory system doesn't operate in separate departments. It's one connected network supporting your entire body, which is why improving one habit often improves more than you expected. Another myth worth clearing up: if it's natural, I can eat as much as I want. Not quite. Even healthy foods work best in reasonable portions. About half a cup of fresh pomegranate seeds or a small serving mixed into a meal is plenty for most people. If you like the juice, choose one without added sugar and keep the portion modest. And if you're on blood thinning medication, or you have kidney disease or another condition, check with your doctor before making significant changes to your diet. Natural doesn't automatically mean right for everyone. Making it practical: sprinkle the seeds over oatmeal, mix them into plain Greek yogurt, toss them into a spinach salad, or eat a small bowl as an afternoon snack instead of reaching for something processed. Simple, affordable, no complicated recipe required. Think about this for a second. If your circulation is working every single second of every day, doesn't it make more sense to support it consistently rather than only every once in a while? That's the piece most people miss. They eat well on Monday, skip a Tuesday, forget about it by Wednesday, and then wonder why nothing's changed. Your body responds to rhythm, not bursts. It's like watering a plant. You wouldn't pour a month's worth of water on it all at once and expect it to thrive. A little, consistently, works far better than a lot occasionally. Before the third fruit, one more question. What damages blood vessels faster? Simply getting older, or years of accumulated habits? The honest answer is that aging is only part of the story. Smoking, uncontrolled diabetes, high blood pressure, poor sleep, and inactivity all take a measurable toll over time. The encouraging part is that most of those factors are changeable, not overnight, but step by step. I've watched men in their late 60s and 70s start walking regularly, clean up their diet, sleep better, and work with their doctor on blood pressure and cholesterol, and a few months later, Many described feeling more like themselves again. No secret formula, just consistent habits paired with real medical care. Now for the fruit that surprises almost everyone. When I bring it up in appointments, people often smile because it's already sitting in their refrigerator. They just never connected it to this. One large study found a link between men who regularly ate this fruit and the lower likelihood of erectile difficulties. Let's talk about berries. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, small, colorful, easy to eat, and easy to underestimate. When was the last time you ate a handful of berries specifically because you were thinking about circulation rather than just because they tasted good? Most people never do, but the research behind them goes deeper than flavor. Berries are rich in compounds called flavonoids. Think of them as tiny bodyguards patrolling your bloodstream, helping protect your blood vessels from everyday wear. Picture your vessels as roads leading into every neighborhood of a city. When those roads are smooth and well maintained, deliveries arrive on schedule, food, medicine, everything moves. When the roads crack and clog, deliveries slow down. Your circulation behaves the same way. Healthy vessels make it easier for oxygen and nutrients to reach your heart, your brain, your muscles, and the tissues involved in healthy erectile function. A large study following thousands of men found that those who regularly ate flavonoid-rich foods, including berries, were less likely to report erectile difficulties over time compared with men who rarely did. Notice what that study didn't claim. It didn't say berries were a cure. Science rarely speaks in those terms. What it showed is that a pattern of healthy eating is associated with healthier blood vessels, and healthier blood vessels support better circulation. That distinction matters. How many ads have promised instant results? One pill, one powder, one secret ingredient, results in 7 days. After nearly 30 years treating older adults, here's what I've actually seen. Your body doesn't respond to advertising, it responds to habits. What you do today becomes the health you're living in 6 months. That's why I push my patients away from quick fixes and toward routines they can actually sustain. One more myth. Frozen berries aren't as good as fresh. In many cases, that's simply not true. Frozen berries are typically picked at peak ripeness and frozen quickly, which helps preserve their nutrients. They're often cheaper, they last longer, and they waste less food. If fresh berries are pricey where you live, frozen is a perfectly good substitute. Health doesn't need to be expensive, it needs to be consistent. Working them in. A handful of blueberries over oatmeal, sliced strawberries mixed into Greek yogurt, frozen berries blended into a smoothie with low-fat milk, raspberries over whole grain cereal, or a cup on its own as an afternoon snack instead of something processed. Here's a question most men never stop to consider. Which matters more, one perfectly healthy meal a week or reasonably healthy meals every single day? You already know the answer. Your body rewards consistency the same way brushing your teeth does. You don't brush for 3 hours on Sunday and skip the rest of the week. A few minutes daily beats one long burst. Now let's clear up the sugar concern, because a lot of men over 60 avoid fruit entirely out of worry over it. Whole fruit isn't candy. Its natural sugar comes wrapped in fiber, water, vitamins, minerals, and plant compounds that slow how quickly it hits your bloodstream. Think of fiber as a time-release capsule rather than a flood. That's a meaningful difference between eating a whole apple and drinking a can of soda. That said, if you have diabetes or prediabetes, portion still matters, and your doctor or dietitian's guidance should come first. So we've covered watermelon, pomegranate, and berries. Different colors, different textures, different aisles of the grocery store, but the same underlying thread. Each one contains compounds that support cardiovascular health broadly, not narrowly. Your circulatory system doesn't work in silos. The same vessels carrying blood to your heart also carry it to your brain, your muscles, your kidneys, and yes, the tissues involved in erectile function. Everything is connected, which is why I tell patients to stop asking, what should I eat for stronger erections, and start asking, how do I support my entire circulatory system? That's the more powerful question because the benefits spread everywhere. One more honest question. How many hours a day do you spend sitting? 4, 6, 8, more? Long stretches of sitting are associated with reduced circulation. The fix doesn't require a gym membership. Standing once an hour, a walk around the house, gardening, a short walk after dinner, or a few simple movements in front of the television all help. Researchers sometimes call this a synergistic effect, a fancy way of saying two healthy habits reinforce each other more than either one does alone. Better food plus more movement adds up to more than the sum of its parts. It still surprises me how many men will spend real money chasing a miracle supplement online while walking past habits that are backed by real evidence. Not because those habits don't work, but because they seem too ordinary to bother with. Extraordinary health is almost always built from ordinary choices repeated without fail. Before we wrap up, there's one more piece almost everyone overlooks. It isn't a fruit, it isn't a supplement, it's something you already do every day without thinking about it. Timing and consistency. For a long time, the assumption was that as long as you ate well, timing didn't matter much. Current thinking suggests that building a consistent routine and paying some attention to when you eat can help these habits actually stick. My advice, don't treat these fruits as an occasional treat. Treat them like brushing your teeth or taking a prescribed medication, a fixed part of the day. Many patients enjoy berries or watermelon at breakfast since it starts the day with fiber and hydration, and save pomegranate for an afternoon snack or a colorful addition to lunch. The exact hour matters less than making it a habit that shows up every week without you having to think hard about it. How many healthy habits have you started and quietly abandoned after a few days? It happens to everyone. Motivated Monday, still going Tuesday, and by Friday, life gets in the way. The food isn't the problem, the consistency is. Your body responds to what you do routinely, not what you do occasionally. On amounts, aim for roughly 1 to 2 servings of fruit a day as part of a balanced diet. Something like a cup of berries, 1 to 2 cups of watermelon, or half a cup of pomegranate seeds. If you have diabetes, kidney disease, or another condition, let your doctor guide the portions instead. And on timing of results, most people expect change in 3 days or a week. That's not how the body works. Think of it like planting a garden. You water it daily, you don't expect a harvest by morning. With consistent habits, many people start noticing better overall energy over several weeks. Though everyone's timeline differs, and patience turns out to be one of the most underrated parts of this process. One of my favorite additions, if you're able, take a gentle 20 to 30 minute walk after a meal. Nothing intense, no running, just a comfortable walk, some time in the garden, walking the dog, or a few light movements while listening to music. That synergistic effect again. Food supports the body, movement supports circulation, and together they do more than either does alone. Here's what I hope you remember after this video ends. The goal was never perfection, it's progress. If yesterday wasn't your healthiest day, that's fine. Start again today. Missed a walk this morning? Take one tonight. Skipped the fruit yesterday? Have some tomorrow. Small, repeated improvements add up in ways that are easy to underestimate. I've watched many older men regain real confidence, not from a miracle, but from consistency, better meals, more movement, better sleep, and working with their doctor on blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. Over time, they didn't just feel healthier, they felt like themselves again. That's what I want for you too. Not empty promises, real and lasting health, built one choice at a time. I'd genuinely like to know, which of these 3 do you already reach for most? Watermelon, pomegranate, or berries? Tell me in the comments. I read every one, and I'd love to know what you'd like me to cover next. If this was useful, share it with a husband, brother, father, or friend over 60 who might benefit. And if staying active and independent matters to you, subscribe and stick around. I share practical, evidence based advice every week for your heart, your body, and your quality of life. Until next time, take care of yourself, keep moving, keep nourishing your body, and remember, your age doesn't define your future. The choices you make today shape the one ahead.